Hey, hey, my peeps, it is the Goose Man coming back at you with a little friendly talk with Richard Martin and I over politics of all things. I have differing views on politics than my friend Richard, and in the last election, he was for Richard Biden. Joe Biden, Richard. Joe Biden, and I was for Donald Trump. And in my opinion, instead of talking about the candidates or the people representing the party, I think it would be important to set the groundwork of what we feel is our connection with the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. So, Richard, with that in mind, what's your picture of the ideal Democratic Party candidate?
Oh man, I think I would really like some classical liberal ideas to come back. Anti-war, um, uh, more openness to different ideas, more freedom for more people. I'm definitely in favor of more rights for everybody. Uh, Something that is transitioning. I mean, this is something that's inevitably happening. So thankfully, that stuff is happening. But I would like to definitely see more anti-war positions, or at least like let's be sensible if we're going to use troops somewhere in another country. I don't know why the Democratic Party has gotten away from that. It's really confusing to me. Not
Did
that I
you
really identify with the Democratic Party. It's more like
did you say more troops or less troops?
less troops. Like we should, like Democrats should be getting back to the roots of. We should be very careful about our foreign involvement. I don't know why it's disappeared. Both parties are very aggressive with foreign policy, and I don't understand. It feels like Democrats have lost their way here. Um, but I would like to see that become a stronger part of the party again. That's why I voted for Obama. In 2008, he had a very anti-war stance. He said, he's going to pull troops out. Of course, he didn't. So, I hated Bush for everything that he did with the way he handled Iraq and Afghanistan. That's why Obama was, able to defeat Cheney, a big part of it anyway.
Okay, so let me. You obviously don't identify with the Republican Party. So, um, in your mind, what do you see the Republican Party as standing for?
It's pro-corporation. I mean, now to be fair, I know Democrats are pro-corporation too, but it's just much more blatantly obvious with Republicans. They will always favor tax cuts for corporations. They won't even hesitate. Uh, they're for the rich. I mean, both parties are. I understand that they both write the same types of legislation that gives tax cuts and favoritism to corporations. We have subsidies given to industries like ethanol
It's interesting you say that. Because I'm going to take this based on what you just said. I'm curious to see. I sense, and you tell me if you sense something different. I believe that we'll be in a war before next year ends.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Why do you feel that is?
Um,
Why do you sense that? I sensed that before you even took over. So why do you sense that now? And why did you sense that then?
I just feel like we have our fingers in the Middle East, and we've had our fingers in the Middle East for a long time. Some of this is about controlling oil, right? So, the United States.
I wish we would control the oil, but we don't. We haven't been. But okay.
Well, I mean, we have our fingers in the Middle East, right? We've had the fingers in the Middle East since the first Iraq War, and indirectly with Israel since 48. Right? We're not directly with Israel since 48. Even though the reasons for that are different than why we are involved in the Middle East now. That was more like a Cold War move, and now it's about we want to make sure we have the ability to react if necessary to control oil supplies.
You really think that, huh?
Because oil's not. Yeah, I mean, look at the.
What's your evidence of that?
Well, Saddam Hussein went into Kuwait
Mm-hmm.
and started screwing with the oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
We said no, you can't do that, so we invaded.
Yes, but we didn't.
If you
We didn't turn the faucet on for us. It didn't become a.
Why do you think we do arms deals with Saudi Arabia? Is it because they're our friends? No, it's because they'll give us friendly oil deals.
Mm.
I mean, our entire political infrastructure is getting tied up into maintaining friction in the Middle East. I mean, there's definitely private sector interest in driving up oil prices too, which affects DC because you have lobbying groups.
Mm. Okay, so
And so I think that's where the conflict will come if we're going to have one. Or China decides to go after Taiwan.
oh, that's a given. Okay, so let me tell you what I see as the fundamental difference between the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and you can say yay or nay. For me, I don't identify with either party. I never support a Democrat because I've never met a Democrat that agrees with me on any of the issues. So they're never an opportunity to limit the government. If you were to ask a Democrat politician, what can't the government do? They can't answer that question. So then the Republican Party has very rarely even has somebody worth voting for. So I feel like I have no party, but I will support a Republican. I will support, but you'll vote for the Democrats regardless, right? Because they're about the best you can get.
I don't think I've met. I'm trying to think of a Republican I respect.
Okay, well
Very, very tiny amount of respect for Romney.
oh Lord have mercy.
Maybe almost microscopic amount of respect for Murkowski. I'm trying to think. McCain's just an idiot, but I guess he's a little bit better than the rest of the idiots in the party.
Yeah, no, I hate those people.
A Republican in my lifetime that I actually respect. Heck, how about Hogan in Maryland? I mean, he's a GOP governor, not a total idiot. Kind of understands he should be doing extreme things.
Well,
Um,
okay, so this is to me the Democratic platform and the Democratic Party sees problems and government as the solution. And the Republicans, the ideal Republican, like I said, not too many of these people, but the ideal Republican sees problems and sees people as the solution. So that's to me is the key.
I agree with you that that's Democrat's position, but you're mistaken. Well, okay, you're talking about the ideal Republican.
Right.
That's not what Republicans do. They're
I know.
corporations
Well, I wish you were right, but why are the biggest corporations, Richard, all Democratic donors? Like to the nth degree.
They're actually, they donate to both parties.
They do,
A lot
but
of the wealthy people donate to
yeah,
both parties.
I understand that. You're right, Richard. But if you look at the percentage of funds that go to the Democratic Party from the richest corporations, it's not even a contest. So if the
Is that coming up all sources of funding? I wonder if it's true at a micro level, like at a house race level. I wonder how true that is.
I would,
Maybe it looks that skewed because at the presidential level it's favoring Democrats, but I don't know if that's true at the local level.
I think you'd be surprised to find that
The
out.
presidential race dwarfs everything in terms of spending.
I understand that.
So it could maybe make things look more distorted than they are. I don't know the stats exactly on the donations. All I know is that corporations win no matter what.
Right. Because that's not the Republican form of government. That's fascism is what that is. When government aligns with business, that's not
We are fascist. I think we've been fascist probably 70s. I think we've. I mean, if you think about Nixon and how he behaved, I think we've been fascist since the 70s. Accelerated under Reagan in the 80s, and it's just been downhill from there.
but you don't see any fascist tendencies on the Democratic side.
No, that's not true. I didn't say that.
Okay.
I mean, they are absolutely aligned with corporate interests, and I think it's more obvious to notice in social media spheres.
What do you mean by that?
I, it's very, if you can disengage from social media and just look at it more objectively,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like there's a close alliance between Democrats and social media.
Oh yeah, I've noticed that as well.
Now,
It's
that doesn't mean the right doesn't have its own social media spheres doing the same thing. It's just that currently it's a little bit, it's smaller than traditional social media. Like you can find conservative social media, but it's doing the exact same thing your traditional social media is doing. Which is part of the reason why I think people should just dump it, like get rid of it. It's poisoning. It's just poisoning the atmosphere. You don't need it. People should go outside and talk to people.
but people aren't going to do that because people are not engaging in the kind of conversations that we're having, Richard.
What if I told you that this is all planned?
What do you mean?
Like that we are being programmed from a young age, probably going back to the 70s or earlier, to be machines in school, so we can be machines at work. And then once they discovered the power of the internet, which used to be amazing, it used to be free, it used to be very open, and then social media in the early 2000s enters the picture, and they discover how easy it is to manipulate people with headlines and algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
And what if I told you I think that people are being manipulated into opinions based on social media algorithms? So this tension that we're experiencing is planned.
And what do you think the goal is from that tension?
Well, I mean, you can rob the bank.
Huh?
Don't you think it's interesting that, I don't know, a ton of money has been printed recently?
Oh, it's frightening.
Inflation's hitting, and it trickles down, right? So
Mhm.
all these rich people are buying assets, lots of them. And so they don't care about inflation that much because an asset's real.
And
The rest of us are left holding the bag. But we don't care too much because we're busy yelling at each other about stupid stuff.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think critical
The algorithms.
critical thinking is not something that is fostered or
Yeah, and
or encouraged.
you could argue once we industrialized schools, probably the 1950s, we started stripping out creativity because what they needed was factory workers. Factory workers don't need to be creative; they need to be able to do an exact sequence of steps as efficiently as possible.
well, we're not teaching history. We're not teaching critical thinking anymore. We're teaching information. One of the things that I heard recently that really resonated with me, it really left me stunned actually, was the idea that we're raising an illiterate nation. Not an illiterate nation, but an illiterate nation. A nation that can read, but doesn't. But when they do read, they read for snippets. They read for Control F, find the quote that you are, the word that you're looking for, and then build around your thought around that quote, and never go outside the bubble for the actual context of what is being spoken about. So there's.
That's part of the reason I take a step back and read some books, like physical books.
Mm-hmm. What are you reading right now?
I'm reading fantasy, Memories of Ice by Stephen Henderson. I'm also reading like Campaigns of Napoleon, massive film.
Mm.
I read a lot of stuff online, but you gotta be careful. You gotta diversify where you read. The problem with that is that all of your search history is known, and if you try to escape the algorithm when you're Google searching, or if you're doing some sort of search engine search, they update the algorithm to reflect what you're searching, so they create a new bubble. So you literally cannot make a bubble outside it. Like, you can't escape a bubble when you're reading stuff online, because the information is updated based on what your search history is.
Yeah.
People fully understand what that means. That you're basically being programmed to believe certain things and respond emotionally to certain headlines.
Mm-hmm.
They have the studies on this. They know how people work psychologically. And there's nothing that you do online that isn't known.
Mm-hmm. That doesn't surprise me, nor does it cause me any kind of fear. I just I do my thing, and when they come to get me, they'll come to get me.
That's not the point. The point is you're in a bubble and you don't know it. And you can't escape the bubble. Think about the full implications of that. There's no way you can escape.
Well, actually, I can, because I don't. Most of my interaction with people is not online. I do it.
That helps. Actually, that is one way to escape. But the problem is, are the people you're interacting with in their own bubbles? Like, if they're doing a lot of social media, they're in a bubble, right?
Right.
And that will have an impact on your interactions with them.
Well, what's helpful is that there are many and various vocations that I'm called to, and in those vocations, it gives me an opportunity to be different things to different people.
That's useful.
Yeah.
Nothing more useful than face-to-face.
Absolutely.
Just filtering out the noise.
Right. What helps me do that is to have actual conversations like we're doing now.
We badly need it. People need to get off social media.
Right.
I mean, I know Discord is social media, but we're not sharing this. I guess we are sharing this publicly, but there's no engagement with it. It's just like as we're talking at the moment.
Oh yeah, and nor are we basing our conversation on people's reaction to it. I'm my purpose of doing this is not to gain more whatever subscribers or whatever garbage that does with the social media. I simply wanted to see if we could have a cordial conversation about politics without resorting to name calling.
Yeah, it's sad what's happening.
Mm.
It's really sad. I mean, this is how much it stinks. My boss had threatened my colleague that if you don't get your vaccine, you're going to get fired. I mean, like,
That's not American.
it's just so crazy.
What happened to HIPAA? What happened to HIPAA? They have to know our stuff?
It's look, there's people out there I think I would never want to be their friends. I think they're bad people. I don't have any sympathy for the rioters in D.C. The people that stormed the Capitol building. I think that they will, they should be facing punishment. But the people that were out
And it's come out that the police actually invited them in, the Capitol Hill police.
They knew that actually. I think that they had happened to knew that.
Right.
It's weird.
Well, that's not what they talk about in the.
Yeah, I know it's very confusing. But my point is, people that stormed the building should be facing criminal prosecution. I mean, they defaced the building, they stole things. You know, the people though that were outside, I don't agree with these people. I think they're lunatics. But you know, they have the right to peacefully assemble. And it's just, you know, some of these people being put on no-fly lists.
It's
People that stormed the building. I mean, some of them are just, they were outside.
mm-hmm. It's very fascistic.
Keep in mind, I don't like these people. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe in what they were protesting. It was stupid what they were protesting. But I don't think that, you know, the people, I can see an argument for people that storm the building, they can be put on a no-fly list. Even though I don't agree with a no-fly list at all. I don't think there should be it. But we have that system in place. But the people outside, I don't think that they should be categorized in the same group. Like I said, yeah, I'm not a usual liberal. I'm a dying breed, I think. I don't really fit in with a political group. I happen to know a lot of libertarians. I don't know if I attract them like moths, you know, to light or something. I also happen to know like various different types of very religious, you know, Christians, and I always get along.
I would be one of those one.
Yeah, you know, but I know like some really hardcore Southern Baptists, but they're totally, you know, they're totally chill. We can have this kind of conversation even if like we didn't agree on anything. I don't generally like very extreme religious, you know, beliefs, but if people are chill about it, then I'm
What's extreme religious beliefs? Well, all laws are theistic. They're it's just who is the theo.
Sure, I mean, I know that religion influences law, but religion should not be deciding law. Talk about public law here. So that's what I would call that extreme. Like if you think that your particular religious sect has the right to write a public law that overrides.
I'm part of the public, so I would like to help write law in accordance with my conscience.
Sure, but your conscience doesn't matter in the big scheme of things.
I beg to differ.
It's sure I have my own ideas on what the law should be. That doesn't mean it should be implemented.
Well, I think each of us has their concept of what the law should be, and we should be free to be able to express it and influence those we elect to write the laws that we desire. So if
The thing is, because of the First Amendment, which I believe in very strongly,
I do as well,
you cannot use religion to write public laws explicitly.
but everybody does. But everybody does.
I think it's very, very bad. I think it's
There is no law that is written that doesn't have a theo that it's serving. You can't write. You can't.
laws are,
You can't.
the thing is, the laws are secular. The laws
That's-
are secular.
Yeah.
This is where Goose and I are going to disagree.
Mm.
The laws have to be secular because the alternative is madness. Because you're going to look at what's going on in Israel. Ignoring the Palestinian issue, I'm talking about within the state itself. You have Jewish law conflicting with Islamic law. And I think there's a lot of problems in Israel because you have Jews there, they're not religious at all. And they have to like go fly to Greece to get married to be legally recognized as married in Israel because of the ridiculousness with how the laws work. Not to mention the problems with how
Well, you should have the freedom in a country that's built like ours to practice your religion as your conscience sees fit.
Yeah, that's part of the First Amendment.
But to restrict it to just within your house of worship is not the point of the First Amendment.
See, I disagree with you. In our founders' country would disagree.
No, they would not. No, they would not.
Just set right laws.
They would not agree with that. I disagree with you on that. Deist?
They weren't. Yeah, they were deists, and they purposely wanted to make sure no religious sect was writing the laws, because it was, Maryland, I think, was a state that formed because Catholics were persecuted, and so they
Right.
their own state and formed their own enclave.
Right.
Because you had, I don't know who it was dominating, probably some Protestant sect was dominating, and they were discriminating against Catholics.
Mhm.
With law.
Right.
So,
That's why we created the freedom of worship.
correct.
But your worship isn't confounded to, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. Every person that writes the laws writes it according to their conscience, according to what they think is serving the best interests of their view of the world, their theo. You can't escape that, Richard. It's always going to be that way. What you're describing is writing the law devoid of any kind of judgment, and that's not law.
Well, no, not of judgment, but we don't want bias in the law. Or we want to minimize it. This is my INTJ personality type coming out. Or actually,
Is there a such thing as objective truth?
well, yeah. See, that's a very, very deep question. I think I talk to a philosopher, like a PhD philosopher, kind of about this. I'm a very mathematical guy. I have a strong math. I have a strong math background. So I might favor the idea that there's certain things that are just objectively true because we know math is consistent, everywhere in the universe. And the philosopher, I actually asked a philosopher. She was like a Marxist, and about whether there was objective truth in the universe. And you would imagine she would say no, but she actually said yeah. There's philosophical underpinnings in the universe. There's the stuff that makes the math. Because what most people don't remember is math comes from philosophy. Basically everything comes from philosophy. But yeah, so she said, yeah, there's universal truths in the universe. That blew me away. Actually, I was not expecting a philosopher to tell me that there's universal truths, and I don't even know what those are.
What the universal truths would be?
I don't know what the universal truths of the universe are. Maybe that's something humans are constantly searching for.
Well, you've heard of Plato's forms, correct?
Maybe I just like philosophy.
The allegory of the cave. Have you ever heard of the allegory of the cave? No?
I have.
Oh. It's the idea that we look at the... okay, so you're a person, and all you know of life is the shadows on the wall of this, what you don't realize is a cave. But you see these shadows on the wall, and that's to you reality, right? That's the life that you live. That's what you live with. That's what you deal with, are the shadows on the wall. And then based on some sort of intuition, compulsion, or perhaps a guide, you turn your head and look away from the wall towards the fire that's lighting the shadows on the wall. And you realize you go blind for a little bit because it takes your eyes time to adjust to the light. But then as your eyes adjust, you see that, oh my gosh, this isn't real. I'm staring at stuff shining on a wall, not what's real. and what's going on is there's little objects going on behind the fire that are casting shadows on the wall, and I thought that was reality, but these little items are what I thought was reality. Wait a minute, this whole place is a cave. I'm not in reality at all. What is going on here? And you take a long trek to get out of the cave, and it's arduous process. And then when you get out of the cave, as you approach reality, you're blinded by the sun again, by coming out of the cave. But your eyes take time to adjust, and it sees first the shadows of the objects, then you see the actual objects of themselves, and eventually you're so accustomed to the natural light that you see reality for what it really is, and you can actually look at the sun itself, which is the source of all light. And then you have a choice to make. You can either stay in reality and live your life, or you can be a philosopher and go back down into the cave and try to get your fellow cave dwellers to look at the light. This is Plato's famous allegory of the cave.
What if I told you maybe it's all a distraction and it doesn't matter? We're just spinning your wheels. The more distracted you are, the more you don't notice the treasure is getting hidden. So asking questions about universal truths is a waste of time.
If it's a
Cynical part of me.
mm-hmm. But if we never ponder these philosophical questions, if you will, I did study philosophy in college. That was my double major, elementary education and philosophy. Yeah, I was going to be that great philosophical king of the elementary educators. Anyway, so yeah, I chose to educate my own children. Anyway, so. Truth is something we all seek, Richard. And in our quieter moments, we are forced to wrestle with truth. That's why we spend so much time distracting and avoiding those quiet moments.
Well, I would just argue in modern times we're programmed into it. It's not an accident that we're.
So how can you escape it? How can you?
Well, I don't have social media anymore except for YouTube and Discord. And I read books, take walks. One of the things I'm not very good with, I'm an INTJ, so like a personality type, so that means that my sensing of the world is very, very limited.
I don't know what INTJ means.
Reality basically doesn't exist to me. So one of the things I'm doing is going out and taking walks and just enjoying outside to get my senses, back into something reasonable. If people like me will just stay in our head all day,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
super introverted.
yeah, and that's not a good place for any of us to be. Left to our own devices, I think we would all destroy ourselves.
We like being in our head all day, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't go outside and do something.
I think if left to our own devices, Richard, we'd all destroy ourselves. So I don't think staying in our own little shell would be good for any of us.
Well, no, the point is that it's just naturally we will spend more time in our head than other types of people. I have my kids, so I go outside and play with my kids a lot. One of the things I notice is my mental health is definitely higher because I purposely make myself go outside. I don't even necessarily do anything but walk.
Yeah, I try to walk with my wife about every day. It's a good time.
I mean, there's actually a physiological reason to do it. I think it helps make your bones strong, and I think you get more vitamin D. So that probably is something to do with why you feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, plus time with my wife is always good. Yeah. Well, I think this is a. What's that?
Did you have any other political questions you wanted to?
No, I think he gave me some things to think about. I think we haven't reached any points of agreement other than something smells fishy about both parties.
I think most people know, but they're distracted. Like, I mean, look, it's just objectively true that.
But the people that you've mentioned from my party that you admire are the people I want expelled from our party.
Right. Well, okay. Don't put those words in my mouth.
What?
There's a lot of qualifiers. I said a tiny little microscopic amount.
The ones that you could tolerate. Mitt Romney is
I could
terrible.
and I want to punch him in the face.
I might throw up on him. So yeah, there's that.
But there's not much that I see in the Republican Party. I mean, I think they're disgusting people. But I can't claim that the representatives of the Democrats are doing a whole lot better. You know, I think that they're.
Tell me a Democrat you do admire that you think is a right representative of the Democratic Party. Like, okay, let me put it to you this way. If right now, if you could have, because I think I'd be safe to say that most of the Democratic Party, including you, would like to have a different head of the party right now instead of Joe Biden.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So who would that be?
it's. I'll say something you're not gonna like it, but I like Elizabeth Warren's intellectualism, but I know her people skills are pretty bad.
But you would want her leading the country?
The problem is that the president needs good people skills, right? So we've had Biden doesn't have good people skills. Trump doesn't have good people skills. Obama had excellent people skills. Bush, yeah, he's in the middle. Clinton, excellent people skills. I think the first Bush wasn't great, and Reagan was very good at pretending. I mean, he was an actor, so he was good at having people skills.
All right. But there's nobody in your party, in the Democratic Party, that you can say, this is my guy or girl.
I really like Obama, but he can't run again. And in the end, he didn't fulfill some of his promises too, which is the problem. I like intellectual types, but Elizabeth Warren couldn't do it. I'm trying to think of somebody. It's very hard to think of someone who's president. I can think of people like policy-wise, maybe in a cabinet position, where they're out of the limelight. That's a little bit easier. I mean, AOC is an interesting speaker. She just needs to be more accurate. Definitely has some more modern earthiness to her that's missing in the Democratic Party. But I can't think of everybody's so old.
Mm.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like a Republican that speaks well.
I have a person that I would really like to be the head guy, and it's not Donald Trump.
DeSantis is my guess.
Yep.
DeSantis, right?
Yep.
The thing is, I mean, he's a scumbag and
Huh.
it's like
How can you say that?
he's sleazy as Trump.
No, he's not.
Sleazy.
What has he done that's sleazy? What has he done that's sleazy?
That's why he'll win the primary.
What has he done that is sleazy?
He does all kinds of laws that favor corporations in Florida. He does all kinds of skeezy voting things.
Can you name one? He's helped.
He's a perfect GOP
Yeah.
But I called that he was going to win the primary like 6 months ago. I'm trying to think of but DeSantis isn't that great of a speaker. I think that guy from Texas, Crenshaw.
You mean Cruz?
No, not Cruz. Cruz is terrible. Not sounding like an ass. Crenshaw. Is that his name? He's got like an Heinz.
Oh, Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw.
Crenshaw. Yeah. Well, I think he's a goodwill idiot. He's kind of like the AOC of the right. He has a little bit of that earthy modernness to him when he's speaking to people. I think he would actually be pretty good as president because I think he has some people skills. That's sorely lacking, I think, on both sides.
Well, if we make it to 2024, maybe we can keep this conversation going.
I don't know. I'm not very optimistic. I think we're going to be running into problems with inflation, and it feels like the Carter administration.
Why? Just because we had gas lines? Just because Biden took us what Carter took 4 years to do in less than 4 months? Biden did? Oh, I don't know why you would get that impression.
No, I'm not. I wasn't alive. I'm young. I'm 33. I didn't live in that time.
I was just a kid.
I wasn't a kid. I wasn't born yet. So, it was just funny that the lines, and then we get some stupid Middle East stuff going on, and inflation. Now we don't have high unemployment though, so we're waiting for that part to come in. You can just smell the disaster coming in the midterms.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this is all Biden's fault. I just think
Amazing what a different administration implements. So I don't see how you can't blame him, but okay.
you could, if I don't mind that. I think I will blame Biden if he does something stupid like attack the Middle East because that will obviously drive up oil prices.
It's coming.
And onshore drilling or not onshore drilling. What do you call it?
The pipeline?
Pipeline stuff, which I don't mind. They actually are. Oil in general, it doesn't really matter how we do it.
All right.
These corporations don't actually take care of the pipeline, so we have hundreds of millions of gallons of oil, and they don't even pay the price for destroying the environment. If we were to put rules and regulations in that didn't exempt corporations from destroying the environment, I would be more okay with allowing the pipelines to go through. But neither party is going to actually hold corporations accountable. They're paid not to, so.
Well,
The pipeline is going to contribute a little bit, but if he goes to war in the Middle East for some reason, yeah, it's the Carter administration.
well, we'll see what the good Lord has in store. Richard, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope you have a good night, and God bless. Thanks for talking to me.